Yo, what's up, everyone? I know we don't have a ton of viewers yet. People still filing in. What's up? What's up? Welcome to the stream. I do not know what we're gonna do today. We'll have some fun. We'll work on Prism. Yeah, don't have any really big goals. We're in the middle of a. Let me turn this music down a little bit. We're in the middle of a big refactor on Prism right now. We've got a few different contributors helping out with that, and we've got Pushback, who actually he's been a massive help with this. He's been a huge contributor to Prism. Just announced that he's going to be speaking at Laravel Live India, which is huge news. Very excited for him. Excited for the talk. It'll be great. And so he's been helping out with this refactor, and Chris, I'm forgetting his last name, he's also been helping out with this big refactor. So the refactor involves, we can talk a little bit about the architecture of Prism. So Prism has the concept of generators, right? So you call Prism to like generate text, we'd call Prism : text, and then you'd chain on your Fluent building methods for all the different attributes you need for text generation. That actually then gets handed off to a class called a generator, not a generator, but like a class of just called a generator. And that's responsible for the entire request loop and sending information back to the LLMs. Like if you use tools, you take the tool result and then we feed that back to the LLM so it knows like the result of the tools to continue generation. We're eliminating the generators basically. The generators like are responsible for the request loop, but then they also go on to talk to the providers, and then like they call like the text method on the providers. But we're getting rid of the generator in the middle. So when you call Prism text, you're now going to be interfacing directly with the provider. And that just kind of gives providers the flexibility that they need to do whatever they need to in their request lifecycle. So offers a ton more flexibility for the providers. So yeah, we're in the middle of that big refactor, so we might tinker a little bit on that. I had started streaming output. Probably need to go back and revisit that a little bit. But the thing is, this refactor kind of has implications on streaming output. So I kind of want to get this refactor done. Or as much done as possible so that we can then just do streaming output like on top of this refactor rather than having to do rather than doing streaming output and then having to like go back and refactor and do work twice. So maybe we'll just like pick OpenAI and work on that, and we can like hang out and chat. Yeah, I think that maybe that's what we'll do. We'll work on doing the refactor for OpenAI, and we'll just chill and hang out and chat. So let's dive in. All right. So, I wanted to do a reorg. I'll do that tomorrow. We're going to reorg Prism from Echo Labs Dev over to we're going to reorg Echo Labs Dev from Echo Labs Dev to Prism PHP. I want to do something here. I was messing around with some settings earlier, and I think I made some things weird, so let's fix this. Cool. All right, so we have this ticket here that I put together for the provider generator refactor, just so that like it makes it easier for contributors to be able to hop in and help out with this, because otherwise it'd just be like kicking around in my head and I'd be doing all the work myself. And we've got some amazing contributors, and I again can't thank everybody enough for helping out with us, like especially this big refactor, because it essentially has to touch every provider that we support right now. Excuse me, need some more caffeine. Early gym sesh today. Yeah, so we can walk through this again. Oh no, that's coconut. I'm weird about. I just got some new supplements in, and I'm weird about artificial coconut flavor. I didn't realize that this was artificial coconut, so I guess I'm gonna have to suck it up. All right, so as we were talking about a little bit in the beginning of the stream, what the refactor is a current implementation of provider's interface returned provider responses, except for embeddings. Embeddings is a little bit special because it just is. Like, it's simple enough that it was easy for me to just avoid the generator process. But providers returned provider responses, and now what the proposed change is that the providers are now going to return the end result, like the text response or the structured response. Already returns the embedding response. Some of the benefits we talked about: providers can implement their own request response flow, better type safety and IDE support, maybe simplified provider implementations. That's actually not true. The provider implementations are going to get more complex, but that's fine because they gain the flexibility. We have more flexible architecture for different API patterns. That's exactly true. Clearer separation of concerns. You know what? Let's just edit this ticket real quick because these are not necessarily true. And I don't want to be misinforming. I don't think that's true. That's not true. That's true. That's maybe true. So we'll leave that there. I used Claude to generate this ticket, so not everything's completely accurate. Cool. Chris said he was going to take on Anthropic and Bedrock, which is perfect. Pushback, again, massive appreciation for the support. Is going to take on a handful of the providers. I just finished Olama this morning as kind of like an example for how to do this. So let's hop in and just work on OpenAI. What's this way? Let's get all up to date. We can take a look at the text handler for Olamo, the one that I just wrapped up. Do something real quick. All right, sick. You know what, I gotta check in on something real quick. Awesome. All right, so essentially what we have going on here is we have, let's take a step back here. Let's close some other buffers, and we can take a step back to like Olama. So in order to empower this whole refactor, so we can do it provider by provider, is if we look at our provider contract, I actually decided to do union return types, and this way it's all valid whether the providers return the provider response or the text response. And then the magic is in the, like, let's just take a look at the like text generator. If we look at the generate method, there is actually, it's not even the generate method, I think it's in if we look in Prism, I think it's in the pending like text response. Let's take a look. Yeah, so in the pending text response, I thought this was actually pretty fun how we enabled this to happen. So when you call Prism text, like Fluent Builder methods, and then you call generate, it actually calls generate on the pending request. So text, like the text method returns a pending request. Pending request generate was basically just coming down and calling the generator generate method and passing in the request. But in order to enable the refactor so we can do provider by provider, I updated the provider contract to return a union type, And then in here in the pending request, I actually use reflection to take a look at the provider's return type for the text method. We have just like a little bit of error handling here, and then we say like if it's returning a provider response, then we need to use the generator. However, if it's not returning the provider response by the contract, we know that it has to then be returning the text response. So then we can call the provider text method directly, and if not, we just like do some extra error handling. So all this extra error handling needed to take place to satisfy PHP stand. I mean, it's not bad being there, but I had to satisfy PHP stand with some of this stuff. So then if we go look at the Ollama implementation, so like we're going to call the provider text method, right? So we're returning the text response, and we're returning the structured response for structured. So we're not using the generator then, because it's going to inspect this return type and then like behave accordingly. So the way that I broke up the code inside of Ollama is by using these like handlers. So if we look at the text handler for Ollama, we have the handle method, which is what we call. We take our response builder, we have some helper concerns here, and then in the handle method, we like send the provider request, we validate the response, which is just like some error handling. We need to build up like the assistant, like basically once we get the response, we need to create an assistant message for the message chain, and we add that response to our response builder. We add a response message, we add a message to the request so that we know that that's like when we iterate, then that message is going to be part of that request. And then we inspect the finish reason. So the finish reason is either going to be tool calls or stop. There's actually other finish reasons, but the only two that I'm concerned about as of right now are going to be tool calls and stop. So when tool calls, we go to the handle tool call, we invoke the handle tool calls method, which calls tools, adds the tool response, like the result of the tools, to the message chain on the request. We add the step to the like response builder, and we determine whether we need to continue or not based on the usage of the with max step method. And so if we do, we just recurse on the handle method until we get stop. And if not, then we're going to just like return the response immediately. And so on handle stop, we just add that, we track that step in the response builder, and then we just return the final response. So this is where we have that, like adding that step. So we return a really rich response object for Prism. So we actually track every step, and we push that to a collection so that you can go back and inspect every request that was made from like a multi-step process, which is really important. So now we need to work on this change for OpenAI. Not the docs, I want this. So we're going to update the return type here to be text response. So we can say we should get an error because the handler is returning a provider response. All right, so we're gonna run into a weird issue here. We'll just do text response. We'll clean this up later. The reason why we have to do this is because we're also currently using the HTTP client's response type. So and we'll end up getting rid of that. So let's just create, I don't know why this is public, it's protected. this is actually going to be this error handling here. I swear to God, I get on stream and I like forget how to type. Always. This is why I will never do live coding at a conference, because as soon as someone's staring at what I'm doing, I just forget how to move my fingers. Get down a little bit. And it's fun if you don't notice in the background, like over here, got my Taylor bobblehead. Love it. All right. I just saw it, figured I'd point it out. All right, let's do, we have param, array, string mixed. That's correct. Then we need to grab this, bring it down to the send request method. We'll move this up to here, we'll call this response. Just get some formatting done. We will take this. Now let's go look at our Olama text handler again and see how we structured the send requests. Okay, so we are just returning the array here. And so we're no longer returning that, we're returning an array. And I don't want to hint this all out because it's only being used here. And it's very provider specific, so we're just going to return. Actually, let's take a look at the handle method again. All right, so we're now up here, so we can do the we'll want this somewhere. And what we need to do here is we want calls tools. We also want, actually we can just snake all this. Oops. I don't know which one to just, it didn't import good. We need text response builder. All right, so we'll also steal all of this because that's basically all the same. Do let's look at what we have for maps. We have a tool called map. Oh, we have that right here. We can just oh my gosh. so we're gonna actually say this is just already. Let's look at this again. We're gonna copy and paste a bunch here because we've already written it. Like, why not just keep reusing it? So what I wanted actually was I wanted to look at maps tool calls again. So we're going to say map tool calls, and we actually want to grab this. I guess, does this even make sense to, since I've already abstracted it, I don't think this even makes sense. I'll just get rid of this. Alright, so we have our assistant message, and then response builder, we add the message, and then we need to basically so we have a finish reason map, but we want to make it a little bit more simple, so let's so we have our map finish reason. Now we need to implement our handles tool calls. We have our tool called map. We got our step. What is it? Why isn't it being mad about? Is it just like mad about? Oh. I'm overzealous with my use of the escape key, so I tend to misformat stuff. Let's look for our should continue. Let's add that in. Our add step method. Okay, now this is where We can now fix this. And what we need to look at here is actually look at our provider response and start making some updates. We have our finish reason mapper from up here. Oh, it's this map finish reason, so we're already doing that. We got to import the type. We're doing the text step. That should fix all of this. So tool call mapping. We need to come back up here. Grab this. Let's just do this one by one. I think we're done with this. We can get rid of that. We've already got our return here, and then we just need to do our handle stop. That should all be fine. We're all out of errors. Let's run PHP stand. So we'd import tool result. Just missing a doc block here. Let's see if we didn't bungle anything up. That's awesome. We have passing test suite after just copying and pasting a bunch of stuff from a bunch of different places. So that's pretty sick. I'm super stoked about that, actually. Sorry, I just gotta check my messages. All right, cool. That's pretty sick. Let's just run a few things. Let's run all of our types. I could have swore we fixed that. Line 99. Ah, that's because it's not a return type. Just get everything squared away. All right, cool. what did we call this Olama one? All right, now we're gonna look at the structured handler. This is gonna get more complex. I really don't know how I want to handle this. I really don't know what I want to do about this, because we're already doing a bunch of mapping. And this is actually, like, this kind of complexity is why I ended up pulling tool calling from structured output. Because, and like, this is also why I've abandoned this refactor 2 or 3 times, is because it starts getting, like, really complex when you get into handling like multiple different strategies for doing structured output that are also like model dependent in OpenAI's case. So things just start getting like kind of gnarly. Let's look at Olama. So it becomes really linear here. Why do we have calls tools? Okay, that was an accident. All right, everybody coming to the stream late. We've got some additional viewers now. We're in the middle of a massive refactor of the internals of Prism. making a bunch of changes on like we're getting rid of a like piece of the generation step, and so we're going to go straight from our pending request. Instead of going pending request generator provider, we're going to go pending request provider. And we just did OpenAI's text output. We're doing OpenAI's structured right now, and I'm scratching my head figuring out how I want to handle this, because this definitely gets like a lot more complicated than text generation. So we know for sure we need to update this, because we're gonna need the new response type. We're gonna update this to return a structured response. All right. So auto mode just maps. Handling structured mode sends the request, validates that, goes to this. So I think what we need to do is this is just really annoying. I think what we need to do is, instead of returning here, we say I think we do this, we update this to return an array, we update that to return that. We're gonna break a bunch of things, and we say these now all return an array of data. We say here we do trying to get like fancy with like stronger return typing, but then we're like constantly re-decoding the JSON. which feels bad and maybe has performance implications, but definitely has like exception handling implications, because if it can't decode the JSON, now we have to like try catch everywhere. So now we're only going to decode in one spot, and we're just going to pass around this like array of this bag of like random data. Little less ideal, I think. Maybe whatever. All right, so validate response is handled. We now return put on some other music. Oh, it's not hard to delete that message. Oh, I deleted that method already. Let's take a look here. Providers, OpenAI, deliver structured. Create response. Come on now. You know what we should do? We should do just a track radio based on this. All right, so we need to come back here. This, that, we add the response message, we add the step. What do we say? We're passing in an array of data and anything. You know what? We'll just grab this whole method and make life a little easier. Let's just grab this and like put this back for now. We're gonna be so close to having this stuff that we need. Did we maybe just do this? Nope. We didn't. Oh boy, what did we do? Alright. Sorry if this gets tiny on y'all. I need a little more real estate. Alright, let's see. We failed 4 tests. Okay, so we like straight up just failed the first test. Why? What did we have here? That's an object. Oh. Ha, there we go. Sick. Just run the whole test suite. Ah, sick. Awesome. So I think we just handled OpenAI a lot faster than I thought we were going to. Let's make sure we're all formatted. pull request. All right, let's take a look at what we did for Llama. No, I want... Oh, I can just do this. All right. They really added that feature? Yes! So I switched from Arc to Zen browser a couple months ago. Loving it. One of the things that I always missed in the transition though was like being able to quickly copy through a keyboard shortcut the current URL. So I'd have to like launch this and then hit copy. Apparently Command Shift C automatically copies your URL to the clipboard now, which I don't know, just tickles me. It's something I like did all the time. All right, we have some cleanup. And I will walk us through what that cleanup is. Let's clean up our buffers and then let's grab our text handler. So let's see what we have in common here. We have mapping the finish reason. Right? Did we use that here? Got that in a few spots. And then I think we share the validate response method. Add step is different. All right, so let's go to here. We'll add ooh. I guess we just add that after the validates response. Let's update handle refusal to... No, let's just leave it that way. I don't want to tinker with it anymore. And then what else did we say it shared? Mapping the finish reason. What? False? That exists? All right. OpenAI. I'm sure something would have caught that. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. What we want to do here is... Sick. I think I'm going to call it a stream after this. Let's take a look at this. We've got CI running. Let's walk through our PR real quick. So structured, we pulled calls tools. Let's just leave a comment. All right, we have maps finish reason trait, which looks fine. Validates responses trait, cool. We made those abstractions. Those just return data now. We validate the response. We handle the refusal. We create the assistant message. We add the response builder. We add the message. We add the step. Return the response. We add the step, which was a map over. Public to protected. Returns an array now. That looks good. Just return the data. Return the data. Sick. Let's look at text. Sick. Dope. Let's call it good. Yo, whoops. We copy pasta. Cut a quick release. You know what? I'm just gonna let this one sit. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this one sit. Sick. All right. On that note, y'all, we're gonna call it a day. We've been going for an hour. I really appreciate. I can't tell y'all. I really appreciate y'all for watching and tuning in, hanging out with us today while we made just a lot of copy and pasting, some refactors. We talked through some stuff a little bit, but it was really nice to hang out with all y'all today and get this taken care of. So we're going to be on the ship it train as much as possible, just pushing forward. As soon as this refactor is done, the thing at the top of the list is streaming responses. I know it is highly requested feature. It is big on my priority list. I have to get this refactor out of the way. There were some other things, some contributions from other people that were getting held up by actually needing this refactor, and it's just something that had to get done first. So we're getting this refactor knocked out. We've got some contributors working on some of the other providers, and as soon as we can get that knocked out, we're going to turn our focus to streaming responses. So thank you again for tuning in. We will catch y'all the next time. Peace.
I'm not going here to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. I'm the only one who can kill you and set you free.